Let's drink beer. It makes my mind clear. It takes me away from here. Let's drink beer. And let's drink beer. Pump it up, lift it up, drink it up.
Right on, guys. Welcome back to the Art of Beer. We have a really special guest today. We have Billy Smith from Kona Brewing, Hawaii. A lot of really great developments have been happening up on the Big Island. He's here to talk about them, and we're here to drink some beer with him. So what are we going to drink?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here, guys.
Welcome.
This is awesome.
Welcome.
This is so great. I've watched the show so many times. And, it's like Hot Ones, but with beer. It's like my dream. So this is awesome. First one we have is from our Backyard Batch series. It's called our Kona Low, which is a cold IPA. You guys know about that style. It came out. The whole India Pale Lager kind of craze didn't go over so well, but the cold ale approach to it still retained a lot of that flavor that people were looking for. So this is our approach to it. And then if you guys are familiar with the weather that we've been having lately from the Kona Low.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, here you go.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Stoked.
And also this is lower in calories too. It's just hovering right around 100. So not only is it tasty, it's good for you.
It's right up
It's
my
like
alley.
diet IPA. I love it.
Totally.
So tell us, what's been going on at Kona? Like, what are some of the new developments? I think for a lot of people there that aren't familiar, like Kona Brewing Hawaii is now its completely own entity, separate company, right?
Correct, yeah. So in 2020, we separated from Craft Brew Alliance, which was our parent company for quite some time. And with that separation, we became independent and technically a craft brewery again. And it's been exciting, nervous too, because we're here on our own. We don't have the support of a larger brewery company, but it's really been exciting just to see the team grow. And the main thing is we have our own brewery here that can produce the volume that's consumed here in Hawaii, and that's awesome.
And that brewery is pretty impressive. And when did the new brewery? So people might be familiar with the old brewery that was connected to the brew pub and the restaurant. Yeah. New brewery is just down the street a little bit, right? And then when did that open? And how's that going?
Yeah, that we broke ground on that in 2016. Yeah.
Took a minute.
Yeah, it took a little bit, but let's see, March of 2020 is when we started being able to make some beer out of it. And since then, Ryan, our brewmaster, and his team's just been killing it. More and more volume coming out of there. Original brewery did about 14,000 barrels a year, and this one can do up to 100,000. Yeah,
That's a scaling up.
small guy.
And then part of the other change is we are now getting locally produced cans, right?
Yeah. That's the exciting part about it is that before the brewery was just draft. Now we have a can line, and so we can bring a lot of these beers that you just saw at our pubs or at the bar to life into the marketplace, into the cans. And so we're really stoked because it's just the ideal package for Hawaii as cans that we feel.
That's one thing I've been trying to tell everybody that I know, my friends and stuff, is you buy Kona Brewing Company, and they have the cans of, lager or the big wave ale and the other ones, but I tell them, look for the crinkled top and look for because that's going to be your freshest beer, because that's coming right from you guys, and that's...
Yeah, so true, so true. And it's just something that we get to really embrace because a lot of things were dictated a little bit before by a wider audience of not just here in Hawaii, but also on the mainland. And we get to focus with what's important here and what people want. And, we have some exciting beers that are coming out, like Waialua Wheat we're bringing back, a lot of fans of that.
For sure.
Yeah, also the Lava Man Red, we have that as well. That's one of my favorites. Classic.
Lava Man Red is good.
Yeah.
And that was one of the originals.
That's an OG. Yeah, it was back in the 90s, and that's just a straightforward amber ale, a little bit on the borderline of maybe an ESB profile, and it's just really it just warms my soul when I drink it because it just brings me back. Brings me back.
It's one of those beers you can always revisit.
Yeah, definitely, very much so. And then the artwork, it's like the beer is one thing, but there's more than just the taste and the aroma. There's also the visual, and the artwork just plays so well in the cans. It's just a pleasure just to look at. It's like really enticing.
Well, this is the Art of Beer, which is, that's why we had you guys here.
I was throwing that softball to you.
Yeah, it's nice to see some of these back, like Wailua Wheat, you know, which has been out of the package market for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
And every once in a while it'd pop up on draft, but it wasn't that frequent.
No, and it's a passionate beer. Really, people are really into it, or they're not. And I think what it is that it just didn't get into enough people's hands, you know. And so now that it can, and with a can, is perfect for the hands.
Well, speaking of getting beers in your hands, why don't you guys go get a beer in your hands? Come back and join us right after this break.
For all your money needs, Hawaiian Financial Federal Credit Union is here for you. Visit HIFICU.com. Bringing you what matters. Viewers can receive the Star Advertiser Digital Full Access subscription for $9.95 per month. Go to staradvertiser.com and click on subscribe. Use the code AHITHING.
Glad you guys are back. I'm ready for another beer. Hope you grabbed yours. You guys ready for another beer?
Yes, we are. What should we crack, Billy?
Let's do the Lala Man Red.
There we go.
Yeah.
Just talking about how good it is to revisit.
Well, let's do that.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too? It's a style that kind of faded out of style. But we get a lot of requests. A lot of people come in and they're like, "You have an amber or a red?"
Yeah.
And I'm always like, "Huh? I haven't heard it." But all of a sudden you start hearing it more. More, and I'm like, no, that's kind of, they don't make a lot of them. They're not. You gotta go. I always say you gotta go to a brewery to find one.
Yeah.
And now, here we got one.
Yeah, they're usually the core lineup. You know, remember back in the '90s, for some of you that old that could drink beer. You have a light beer, then you would have your slightly hoppy pale, and then you would get your IPA, which was more of an English style. Then you'd get into the multi beers,
Right?
And you'd always have that as a basis. But we're starting to see the same thing too. People are really, I think, revisiting those beers again, coming full circle, because there's been. The palette of beers have just gone so far. The pendulum with the hoppiness and with some of the Belgians and the high ABVs. So I think people are coming back to their safe spot.
Well, simple beers, right? And it's not it's a good thing. Where it's just it's just clean, simple food. You can eat with these. You can eat pizza, all kinds of other things, right? It's like perfectly paired.
Yeah. And one thing I like to do with this is, bourbons come out as being a really predominant craft liquor, before it was just Scotch, right? And over the past 5-10 years, it's become more accepted. I like to pair it up with a good bourbon. It goes really well.
I could see this with something like a high rye kind of bourbon.
A rye would be great because of the spiciness. Yeah, that would be really good.
That'd be great.
You don't have any back here, do we?
Not yet.
Where's our whiskey?
So tell, what are some of the things to look forward with? The new brewery, it's fully up and running, full swing.
Yeah.
What are kind of the goals? What are you guys looking for in the next year or two with?
Yeah. Being able to bring beers to life that we're just really in draft and in the pub is what we're really excited about, what we're focused on, and then be able to get innovative, bringing out new beers quicker to the marketplace than they ever have been before. This is learning. Being independent. Again, it was really us starting a new company over again in a lot of aspects, and so learning how to bring the beers to life, and then being able to do it in the time that we say we're going to do it. So it's really those are the things in the future that we're really stoked about.
I mean, it was cool because I was with you last summer, and we were in the brewery, and you guys were canning Big Wave, and you pulled. I mean, it was like here, and it was it's canned 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And then that's just getting packaged and shipped around the islands versus, having to travel further, and you're like, that's
fresh beer. That's what we want, fresh beer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the biggest changes that's happened for consumers.
Yeah, good beer is good beer, and it should be stable, but to have their freshest, we all know that's the best, and to be able to get it straight to people that want to drink it, we're excited about that, It's the thing when you're a brewer and you taste the beer for a release panel, you taste it as fresh as it's going to be, and you want that experience for everybody else.
I'll tell you, one of the best things about actually getting yourself to the brewery and going on the tour is that tasting room upstairs when you're done.
Thirsty Gecko.
The Thirsty Gecko. It is. The whole tour is great, but sitting up there at the end of it and tasting through the lineup is just as good as
All
it
those
gets.
beautiful, and then all the beautiful tables, like all those tables are
yep.
beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it fits our sustainability focus. They're all fallen wood, monkey pod, and so it really just sets the tone of the whole place. Yeah. But yeah, it's tough to work in that area and not stop by the bar.
And then you can just mosey a block or two down, right? And the original restaurant's still there.
Yeah. We actually will shuttle you down for the tour from the pub and then take you back.
back.
Yep. And so after everyone's had that amazing experience, a few beers, and you go straight into retail.
Yep.
And
You walk right into the pub.
Is the brewery, the old brewery, still functional? Is that?
Well, we purpose majority of those tanks into the new brewery. That's kind of smart to do that, but also we wanted to bring some of that mana, that was there for so long. And now that's an open space. We're going to do an innovation brewery in there. Cool. And then we're going to do a bar and a food truck. So it's going to be like a backyard, kind of like a backyard type, paella type feel to it, yeah.
That's good, and it'll keep for the people that went to the original and that still have the nostalgia of being in that spot.
Exactly.
Producer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, looks like I'm out of beer. We got to swap out beers. We're going to swap out guests. We're going to send Billy to the couch. We're going to bring somebody else in. We're going to talk some more Kona. Come on back.
See Dr. Oda at HEC Medical Clinic Honolulu Specialist in laser weight loss. You can see the change losing 1 to 2 inches instantly. Pacific Spray Wash is Oahu's #1 trusted exterior cleaning service. We deliver a spotless job for all your pressure washing, roof cleaning, house washing, and solar panel cleaning.
Oh, thanks for coming back. So we're doing something special in this episode. We are swapping out guests. We got Ryan McVeigh, who's the brewmaster and director of brewing operations at Kona Brewing Company, to join us. Billy's over there on the couch. Ryan's gonna come in and we're gonna talk about some of the beers, give us a little more insight onto the brewing process over there at Kona. And Ryan, what are we opening right now?
Well, right now we are about to have our Wailua wheat. So
Yes.
limited release for the year. We're doing 3 of them throughout the year. We're starting with Lava Man, moving to Wailua, and then moving to Cocoa Brown to finish off the year.
Awesome. And tell us, let's do a little cheers. Thanks for coming
Cheers.
on.
Thanks for coming out.
You guys flew over from Kona this morning?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
That beer. I remember when this beer came out. I was at the Feral Pig and I was telling Billy earlier, I was like, I tried to drink my body weight in this thing every day. I was like, this beer is so good. I just want them to keep making this year round.
Yes. Well, that is one of the things we do. We do make it year round, but it is really kind of located at our pubs more than you'd find anywhere else. And it's been a great beer for us. Long time ago, back in the day, it used to be called Lilikoi, and we changed that name to Wailua, and when we were a CBA. And they did actually have it in bottles for a little while.
Still kept the logo, the tropical passion fruit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because this is a beer that was, when was it first released? It was a while ago, right?
Yeah, it's been, it's up there with the beers that we've had. It's, I've worked for Kona Brew since 2005, and it was around then. So,
Right.
it's one of the ones that's, kind of been there. We have our core lineup that's always on, and this is one of those beers.
Yeah, I think this was one of the very early, and I'm not going to say it was the first, but early fruit, kind of passion fruit beers, right? And I remember, we were talking, my mom loves this beer.
Yeah.
Mom, it's back, finally, Because for a while it was in bottles.
Yeah.
And it was before that kind of heavy, and this isn't heavy fruit, but before fruit started getting into beers, other than Belgian styles, right?
Right.
You had your cherries and your raspberry, but then all of a sudden, you guys started using tropical flavors.
For sure. That's one of the great things about brewing beer in Hawaii is just all the abundance of extra things that you can put into beer, and that being available almost year round is awesome. So we like to really explore with adding things to beers and trying to be non-traditional in lots of different ways. So this beer kind of is a great entry into that kind of world where you have something that is, obviously very, very much a lot of passion fruit in there, and the beer behind it is nice and smooth and easy to drink.
But it's not sweet. It's dry.
It has fruit, but it doesn't. It doesn't. It's not sweet.
This is your poolside.
Yeah, so the
yeast
trick
beer.
here is, we ferment with the juice in the beer, so it doesn't leave that really sweet, overpowering flavor. So the yeast actually consumes it, converts it into alcohol, I think that gives you like that great impression without making it overly over the top. Because
You chose the right fruit to start with too, because passion fruit lilikoi it's sweetness, but it does have acidity to it. So it's not like you're starting with this overly sweet product, so you're able to fold it in and work it in quite well.
Yeah, I'm stoked it's back in cans. What are some of the other, I know, but some of the other interesting ingredients you guys have worked with over the years that you guys have kind of just not foraged for, but found on the Big Island?
I think probably the most unique one would be OPE. We did an OPE stout. That was interesting. Sometimes things can make it to market, and sometimes they should just be an experiment. And that one was an experiment. So, but we like to use almost anything that we can. Like there's farms all over Big Island. They grow anything from cinnamon, obviously coffee, lavender, all kinds of ginger, lemongrass. Anything that we can get our hold of. We'll put it in there.
Like about Hawaii Island, there's so many different,
Climate
atmospheric zones, right? Yeah. So different products grow differently across that whole island, and you get an array of things. So,
well, we're gonna go take a quick break, go get a cold one, come back, join us. We're gonna be talking story more at Ryan from Kona Brewing Company.
For all your money needs, Hawaiian Financial Federal Credit Union is here for you. Visit HIFICU.com. Bringing you what matters. Viewers can receive the Star Advertiser digital full access subscription for $9.95 per month. Go to staradvertiser.com and click on subscribe. Use the code AHITHING.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Art of Beer. We've got Ryan and Billy back on the couch from Kona. They came over here today to give us some beers. They brought one in the growler, so this is only brewery release. What do we got?
Yep, this is this year's Pink Boots brew. It is a Belgian single. We're calling it Belgian single. No DMs, please.
No DMs.
So, kind of a little bit of play, because obviously, it's Belgian single. It's for the Pink Boots, and the folks that aren't familiar with Pink Boots, it's really a celebration of women in the beer industry and non-binary individuals as well. We've been brewing a beer in Hawaii with groups of people really about 5 years now, maybe 6 years now. And our first one that we did was about 4 people, and it's really grown until something, I think we had like 50 different ladies come over from Oahu, from Maui, from Big Island, from the mainland, and some of our employees' moms came and brewed with us. So it was really fun, really cool. So Kayla Jensen, who's been on this show before, was really the spearhead for us out of Kona, but her and Roxy from Hanakoa really made this happen and kind of come together. So it was really cool to see all that, and continue to see the excitement around it. And it's always like right around Brewfest, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, cheers
kind of
to
keeping
cheers to that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, easy, Belgian. Like you got the Belgian character, but it's not overly powerful.
Yeah. So it's
Light, crisp.
Yeah, we used a Belgian Ardennes yeast to give that nice phenolic flavor, and then we used a little bit of grapefruit peel to kind of get that extra little pop right at the end. And then the hops that are used in it are a specific blend for this Pink Boots. And so they sell these hops to all the different breweries on the mainland and Hawaii that want to do something with it, and the money goes back into these individuals. So there's opportunities for further education. There's opportunities to kind of have like monthly kind of talks and chats. So it's really cool to see that happening in the industry.
And Kona's always, for as long as I've been familiar with the company, you guys have always had a good amount of females working in the company, from Sandy and
Yeah.
everybody, and it's really cool because it's not like a new thing you guys are doing. Like they've all been there for a while.
Yeah.
And very, very like integral into the company.
For sure. I think that a lot of people, think about brewing beer and they think of, big dudes doing that, and that's really not our experience so much. We have a lot of different groups of people, and our quality assurance lab has 3 different ladies working in. Our brewery engineer, Tijan, basically keeps the brewery running and got it actually up off the ground. So, you know, a big tip of our hat to her. Obviously, all of our, you know, our finance team, there's a lot of ladies in there as well. So we have a great opportunity to celebrate them as well. But they get to like get together and, you know, they design this beer. And so they gave me the ideas. You know, I really only give a few parameters, like how strong do you want it to be, what is the color do you want it to be, and
let them go.
Yeah, then let's put it on. Let's make it happen.
I like that. What we talked about in the past with Pink Boots. It's not just so much to celebrate and to encourage the women that are in the brewing, but like we've seen at other ones like Hanako, where they brought somebody with them that works with them that they think maybe would that give them the spark, seeing that, like, you know, to include more people.
Absolutely.
And so we're stoked on that, you know.
Yeah.
We always talk about community. The bigger the community gets, and it doesn't have to be male dominated.
Well,
community is everybody. We're bringing everyone in, and
you know, brewing beer. Obviously, I love it. You know, it's a lot of fun, and it's been great to me. It's been great to my family. But I think people really get excited when they get to do something. They get to see it. They get to see what all this stuff is, and you know, it's a big process. It's not simple. It's not easy. And it's really cool to get people in to see exactly what it is that we do when we make beer, and how do we approach it, and how do we talk about it, and how do we keep the quality and the safety at the utmost priority.
Yeah, it's a cool story. I don't know if anybody's ever been in the Village and you've been on the retail side, and you go to check out, and at the cash register, there's a wood engraved Village logo on a little piece of wood. And that was from Sandy, and that was when you guys did the cinnamon bark thing. So she got a piece of the cinnamon tree, and if you actually smell it, it's 7 or 8 years old now, and if you smell it, it smells like cinnamon because it's from a cinnamon tree. And that was from someone who worked for you, and they got it wood engraved, and it was like, you know, it was awesome.
We gotta take a little break, and this is actually the end of our section here on the TV segment. If you want to see a little bit more with the guys from Kona, join us on YouTube. We'll be over there. Thank you guys for joining us on The Art of Beer. Cheers, guys.
Extended edition with The Art of Beer. Dave's back, Tim's back, Ryan's back, Billy's on the couch still. We're gonna drink some more beer.
From Kona Beer.
Kona Beer.
What should we open?
Let's try the light.
Kona Light.
We were talking about, sorry, go. We were talking about cinnamon, or we were talking about, cinnamon and the wood and all this stuff. It's really fascinating. Allspice is similar. If you have an allspice tree, don't cut it down. They're super slow growing, but the wood is super aromatic, just like the bark, and just like, I might need to,
Chug it.
what could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly
What could possibly.
All right.
So talk about Kona Light. What's going on with Kona Light? That's a relatively new release-ish.
Yeah, Kona Light. You know, it's obviously a light beer. It's 99 calories. I think what's interesting and what makes it like a Kona, you know, style beer is there's actually mango added in it at the end. So it gives a nice little fruity kick to it. It's very approachable. I think that, you know, anybody can really get down with this beer as long as you're not allergic to mango, because it is real.
I gotta go.
Somebody get him his EpiPen.
But the beer itself, you know, we've been brewing versions of it for a little while now, and so this one is now, you know, Kona Light. The last one was Makani, and it's a little bit hard for people to understand the name, so we moved it into this. And so this will be coming out of Kona now. As we have been bringing up the new brewery, it's really trying to get all the volume that we can coming out of the facility in Kona. And that's the kind of our process this year, is to kind of get as much as we can in, and then start to expand our lineup as we go further.
Well, this thing is crushable.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's great.
Beach beer for sure.
So with the new brewery now, and as it's sort of getting into a flow, are you guys being able to experiment more and because I know that at some point you guys were there was such a stress on you guys to just put out Big Wave and Longboard, right? Where you couldn't really do those fun beers anymore, right? You guys had always done.
You know, production is our brewery, and we have always had a production mindset. Our previous brewery was a 25 barrel system. We've never had a pilot system per se. We've never been able to make like a single batch that's going to be like 3 barrels where we can totally get nuts. So when we make a recipe, we feel going into it very confident in what it's going to come out. And so when we have those kind of conversations, we have a lot of intention behind our beers. And so we have a very clear-cut understanding of what we're trying to achieve before we ever get to the mash tun. So what we like to do is try and have at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 brews per month. And at our new facility, we have, it's called a high efficiency brewing system. It's a plate. It's got a big mash filter in it, which is an unusual style of brewing, but we still commit to the same thing. So on that one, we've learned a lot of different things about the system that we have. So we've brewed anything from a 25 barrel Old Blowhole, our barley wine, all the way up to like 80 barrels of this Kona Light. So the same amount of grain goes into all these batches, and we get a variable amount of beer out of it just based upon the starting gravity. So for us, it's a lot of fun. We don't necessarily...
So that means you're getting more sugar out of it. Or
Yes.
less sugar, a variable amount of sugar.
We are getting, the system is made to give you what's called strong wort. So what we're gonna get is a lot of sugar, and then depending upon what we want that beer to be, we add water back to get to certain starting gravities. And that starting gravity determines how much sugar is going to be fermented, and that determines ultimately how much alcohol is gonna be created as well. So if we wanna get nuts with like a 11% beer, we can do that, but if we want to make something that's like 3%, we could do that as well. So this system is really fascinating, and it took us a while to kind of figure it out, the math behind it and all the science of how we can extract as much as possible. But it's been a real pleasure to work on.
I like that you mentioned the barley wine.
Old Blow.
It was the first barley wine I ever had in my life. And it was at the Kona Brew Pub in Hawaii Kai.
Yeah.
And I had been going for months and drinking like longboards. And somebody said, you can imagine how that night went. You've been drinking longboards for months, and all of a sudden you have a couple of barley wines.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I didn't know what a barley wine was. And then, I was probably halfway down the first one where they're like, oh, by the way, it's like 13% alcohol. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I think that did that for a lot of people.
Definitely made for fun times.
I'm just a big fan of the name, Old Blowhole.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious.
So talk to me about Big Wave, because that's become such a juggernaut. And like, I got friends that used to drink Heineken, and then they kind of were like Modelo fans, and all of a sudden, like, they're Big Waves,
Yeah.
and it's kind of, you do a double take, like, oh, you're drinking Big Wave. You're like, not because it's just not like what they normally drink, and it's like, it's awesome because you start seeing them going into something that's more flavorful, got more hop character. Like, where did that like come from? And
So the Big
who
Wave
created it? Who had that recipe?
Yeah, a Big Wave,
hit the home run.
was part of our big three, is what we used to call it when I first started. It was Big Wave, Longboard, and Fire Rock. And a Big Wave at the time used some honey malts, and it was a little like overly sweet, but we revamped the recipe some years back, and really focusing on Galaxy and Citra hops. And what's interesting about the beer, and I do a lot of server trainings and getting people to just taste the beer and talking about it, and like the Longboard and Big Wave are very similar beers. There's the bitterness is almost exactly the same. The alcohol content is almost exactly the same. If you look at them visually, they look almost exactly the same. But if you have that first sip, and it totally changes like the entire perspective. So the hops that we use kind of give a natural sort of indication of fruit. So people ask me all the time, like lychee, passion fruit, all these things, and say, no, none of that is in there. That's straight from the hops that we're using. And so the beer itself, I kind of look at Longboard and then Big Wave sort of like, I think of Longboard as like what my dad drinks. He's always been a lager guy, and he was all about the Longboard. And then we have the Big Wave, and it really starts to kind of give a little like entryway into the world of craft brewing. I think it's not an IPA, it's not a pale ale, but it really could kind of present itself as one. So I think of it as like a step into the direction of like what can beer really do, and what can it really taste like, and really kind of changing perspectives on what beer is from the very beginning. So to me, I think of it as like the next step from a longboard. And now my dad drinks the big wave too. So.
Well, I mean, and that's one of the cool things about with your lineup between longboard or big wave. It is the next step, and it is what introduced a lot of people as moving into not having to go to craft beer, but still, I mean, IPAs, but still craft beer is something really good. And that's one of those things we all love Kona for, man, and we always will appreciate it. So speaking of that, we appreciate the guys from Kona Brewing Company coming out today, hanging out with us. We got Ryan. Billy's still back there on the couch. If you're ever in Kona, go on a brewery, the tour at the brewery.
Take the tour.
Do it. You'll not be sorry.
Or if you're in Hawaii, go to the brew pub.
The brew pub as well. You won't be sorry for that either.
Crush some beers. They're all
See you guys next time on the Art of Beer. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.